Hello, I'm Ann Gillespie Mitchell from Ancestry.com, and today I'm with J. Mark Lowe, who has been doing genealogy for a few years, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You've probably seen him at many conferences, online, all sorts of places. So, you taught me one of the most important tools I have in genealogy, and that's Mull and Ponder. Can you tell everybody about Mull and Ponder and why that's so important?
Well, number one, there's one important thing that's missing. That's a rocking chair.
A rocking chair, right.
So that we can really mull and ponder, think about the situation. But mull and ponder really is just a time to slow down, really pay attention to what we're looking at, think about the people that we've been researching, the families, where they might be.
Right.
And really think about the things I'm going to look for instead of rushing through the records, right? To really slow down and really to put that plan across in your head. And I think my best time, I hope yours now too, is mull and ponder. Just slow down and enjoy the process. And while you're doing it, your brain is actually helping you sort through those resources.
Absolutely. I find if I have a brick wall or someplace that I'm stuck, if I just back away from it, suddenly a thing will come to me. It's like a light bulb going off. So
wow.
For me, best technique you ever taught me.
Oh, great.
Absolutely.
I love it. It's my favorite thing to do is mull and ponder in a rocking chair.
Well,
And if I go to sleep, I tell people I'm just so relaxed. I'm thinking through my family problems.
It's in your mind.
It works.
It does. It
really works.
So another great thing that's happened in genealogy over the last few years is genetic DNA.
Absolutely.
I mean, it has really come to the forefront. Have you used it to break through any problems or brick walls?
You know, recently, I was a bit adamant about using autosomal DNA in particular. I've done, Y-DNA and others, but I thought, how's that going to help with the research that I'm doing?
Right.
But you know what it is when you learn about it and understand the process. I've been recently broke through a personal,
really,
almost a 40-year problem. And what I did is took the Y data that I had, and I actually matched someone. Mm-hmm. Like a non-paternal event, so they don't have that surname. And so, in using autosomal as well, but what it did is I mull and pondered the situation, and I realized that if I connect to that person, then my family connected with that person where his family was. I never took that approach, and so I began to look at the locations where his family lived.
Right.
And what that's going to do for me is my family is very clear in the United States. This is a Scottish family. And I lose them when they go to Ulster, and I don't pick them up again until the U.S.
Okay. I have those problems.
I know. His family, however, this guy was born in England, but his father was born in Ulster, in Northern Ireland.
Right.
Right in the right place where people were coming.
Okay.
His father was born there, and 5 generations of his family lived in that same place, which puts it back to the time period when my family was coming from Scotland to Ulster to the U.S. So now I'm researching there.
Right.
It's likely where our people met is in that location. Now, I'm using other records.
Sure.
But it's the DNA analysis that gave me the location to say, hey, go look at the records in that place. And he doesn't know where his family originated. And it looks like I'm going to be able to jump not only the pond, but jump the gap to Ulster, back to Scotland. For not only my family, but, we're cousins, obviously.
Right, so now he gets that
and all
because
those years,
of the DNA.
The only difference for me was the application of DNA to that study.
It's like a new type of record that can get us to a new place. So, one of the things that you and I have talked about in various classes is occupations.
Absolutely.
And one of the things people, when they start looking through census records, they get all disappointed. My family were just farmers. What do you say to people who do the just farmer thing?
No. I get really upset. You know that.
I know you do.
The other thing is if you tell me they're farmer and I'll say, what kind of farmer? I'm just a farmer. Then I get really, really upset. Because there is no just a farmer.
Exactly.
Farmers either raise livestock or row crops, or beekeepers. And that's the story of the family, right? And that's what we need to learn. There's no uninteresting farmer.
Exactly.
But a farmer by itself is boring. And if that's all you have, just let it lay, probably. It's digging into the story. And the records are there for us to learn very precisely what they actually did for a living. And that's what I want to know. And you know what? You know how they learned it? You know how they learn to be the kind of farmer they are?
How?
They learn from their grandfather and their uncles and their father or their mother. That's how we learn.
Handed down.
Very legacy, very long-term legacy is agriculture.
Exactly.
It's the first real occupation. They talk about the oldest, but farming goes back to our beginning.
And I was looking through records, and I remember something you taught me that if they had orchards and they were growing lots and lots of orchards, chances were good that they were also making liquor, alcohol. And then I found out that one of my ancestors owned an ordinary, which was an old-time tavern.
Or tavern, yeah.
None of that surprised me, but I figured that out by looking at the records and the crops that they grew.
Well, what is it? We're asking the right questions, and we slow down.
Right.
Not a discovery is made when you're running. You only discover when you slow down and see the things you haven't noticed before.
I love that. No discovery is made when you're running, and that is so true. So what's the latest brick wall that you've broken through?
The latest brick wall?
Or one of the most interesting ones?
Well, they're all interesting.
They're all interesting, of course they are.
You know, not only do records lead us to people, they lead us to politics, because our families did not live external of what's going on around them.
Exactly, just like us.
Yeah, and I live right there in the borderlands of the Civil War, and we're still looking at that from a long-term perspective. And I'm actually analyzing using agricultural records and slave schedules. I'm actually calculating politics. It may sound a little boring.
Really?
Yeah. So where people lived, East Tennessee was very divided.
Right.
And in fact, there were more Union regiments raised in that part of East Tennessee, in the South, than there were Confederate regiments. However, there were. And what I'm looking at is in this area where these people lived, I'm actually being able to predict who was likely to be Confederate and who was Union. And it's panning out. And I'm using,
that's fascinating.
I'm using slave schedules and ag schedules.
You and I have to catch up about that one. I can't wait to see that one.
So open break. I mean, it's new things. So
right, new ways, and those are very basic records that are out on Ancestry, easily
use every
attainable,
day.
And just new ways to look at them. And looking at things in a new way gives you a whole new perspective.
Absolutely.
So my last question for you. I know that you just filmed a class for Ancestry Academy, which is the Ancestry's new product to help people learn how to do new things.
Yes.
And we've got all sorts of things we can learn from you. Tell me a little bit about the class and what you hope people get out of it.
Well, number one, it's an opportunity for us to slow down and really learn about these records or the methodology that we're talking about. And I had the chance to talk about one of my favorite things is learning about people that are almost undiscoverable, right?
Yes.
It's those people in the pre-1850s that are just marked on a page. There's not names.
Exactly. But they are people.
They are people. And I do talk about a brick wall that I solved in that class that I share with you. But it's how to learn who they are, when they were born, where the folks might have been, who are they. It forces you to ask questions, and questions are how we find answers.
Exactly.
So it's a great, and the opportunity for us to learn at our pace, and for folks, hopefully, that are fun to share information. I'm telling you, I love this.
It is.
It is fun.
So, and I think a lot of people get frustrated because they look at 1840 through 1790 and they're like, oh, I'm not going to learn anything.
Yeah.
So this gives them an opportunity to look at those records in a new way and hopefully break through some brick walls.
For example, if I said, oh, you're number 7.
Right.
Okay.
What does that mean?
And if we looked at that, if you're just a number, you're just a number, but in reality, you're still who you are, right?
Exactly.
And it's the issue of just thinking they're a tick mark, and none of us are that. It's not that simple, nor were our ancestors. And slow down. You know what? You don't even have to know their name. If you take their name tag off, then you get to learn about who they are, and you discover the name.
Exactly.
And that's as you said, I've been doing this a few years.
A few.
And every day it's a new story because I take the time to listen to those stories from the records.
And Mull and Ponder.
And Mull and Ponder.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.